Did you all receive it? As in, I sent a file. Yeah, your coordinator would have sent it. Okay. So there are some people from KNMS trying to tell that it is not there, not in Learnity. I have sent it as a link. I think I gave it in the, listen, children. It came in a WhatsApp group. Anyways, I have sent it to everyone now. You can just check it. Now see your chat box. You would have got a link from me. Just click that link. You will get the questions. Okay. So basically, this is the questions that I gave. Some questions for practice. This is what we are going to discuss now. Okay. 3 lessons are there for the test. Living world, biological classification, and the cell. Okay, so now we start discussing the answers for this particular thing. The next week you have a term test, maths, physics, chemistry, biology. That is the order. You please start preparing for the same. Okay, now let us try to go ahead with this particular answering the question. I want you to take the back side of your note. Okay, everyone take the back side of your note and start writing the answers for these questions. Okay. So now try to take the back side of your note and start answering this particular questions. We will start discussing it one by one. You can go in your own pace. Yes, taxonomy is included in the portions and all. Okay, Linnaeus is considered as the father of taxonomy. Name other 2 botanists known for the contribution in the plant taxonomy. Okay, so you can have people like John Ray, Aristotle, Bentham and Hooker, Ernst Mayr. All these people are botanists as well as zoologists who were like contributed a greater thing to your classification, taxonomy, and all. Okay, except Aristotle was like little older age or older period. Except for Aristotle, I think these people have like kind of done a lot to our modern contribution. Theophrastus and all like are like old. They will all be there. So you have Engler is there. You can write any names. I'm just like giving you answers, like some answers that you know already. Some of those names that you already know, I have given those people's name. And this name is like appearing in the textbook, CBSE textbook, first beginning of the chapter. So it is essential that you should read these things also, what these guys have done. So you see Ernst Mayer's work is given here, what he has done here. Okay. So before every chapter, before every unit, you have one scientist who has won the Nobel Prize, or like some kind of scientists who have like done contributions to biology in some way. So Ernst Mayr is one person who has contributed to systemics. Okay. So he has contributed a greater deal to systemics. Basically, he is a zoologist and an ornithologist. He has contributed to a greater level in terms of systemics. So you have to write this guy's name, which is there in the textbook mostly. Okay, second question. What does ICZN stand for? International Code for Zoological Nomenclature. Don't use the word anything, it is code, and then here it is nomenclature. I see people writing council for naming and all. That is wrong. International Code for Zoological Nomenclature. That is the answer for the second question. Third question. Couplet in taxonomy key means what? The two statements, the two contradictory statement is what we call it as couplet. Okay. The two contradictory or contrasting state leads or statements in a key is called as couplet. The two leads which are contradicting or contrasting, what are they? Each of them is called as lead. That is why we are saying that the two leads or statements in a key is called as a couplet. Yeah, you can say it as two alternate statements also, no problem. But try to use what is there in your textbook. The keys are based on contrasting characters, generally in a pair called as couplet. Each statement is called as lead. Okay, next one. What is a monograph? The fourth one, information about on any one taxon is called as monograph. It can be a book, it can be an article, anything, but which will contain information about only one taxon. That is what we call it as monograph. Amoeba multiplies by mitotic division. Is this phenomena growth or reproduction? Explain. Okay. So what you need to know is whenever there is a unicellular organism, the reproduction and growth are synonymous. You need to know. Both are one and the same. Okay. So you have to use the words like this. In unicellular organisms, the process of multiplication is considered as synonymous with growth. Okay. So you read the textbook, you will be able to get it. So you check this particular first initial part of the lesson. You will be able to see that you read here. When it comes to unicellular, I have highlighted a particular passage. You just see that passage. Read that part. When it comes to unicellular organisms like bacteria, unicellular algae, or amoeba, reproduction is synonymous with the growth. That is, increase in number of cells. We have already defined growth as an equivalent increase in cell number or mass. Okay, you read this, leave this part till this part itself is fine. So this 3 lines. Listen, I have asked questions even from the deleted portions. In NEET, we have not got any information related to deleted portion. There is no official announcement from NTA regarding deleted portions. Yeah, even for the term exam, I have asked questions. You read the full chapter. Okay, so that is the case. So I have answered the 5th question. Now going to the 6th question, define metabolism. What is metabolism? The sum total reactions that happen in a cell or organism chemical reactions. is called as metabolism. What are the components of it? It consists of catabolism and anabolism. So this is how you will write. So basically this will carry half a mark, this part, and this will carry half a mark. If it is a 1 mark, in case if it is a 2 mark, these two things along with example will carry 2 mark. Always please understand that whenever you are writing answers in biology, you have to write about what? With examples, diagram wherever it is possible. Okay. Seventh question, which is the largest botanical garden in the world? Name the thing. The answer for this question is, seventh question is the Royal Botanical Garden of Kew. Okay. In India, you have Botanical Garden in Kolkata. You have it in Lucknow. You can talk about Ooty Botanical Garden. The biggest two are Kolkata, the Indian Botanical Garden are there. Okay, so with this thing, this first section is over. We have completed it completely. Now we'll go for the second one. Yeah, I have given you lots of garden thing names and all. So please refer to it. You have your class notes with you. In class notes, I have given very detailed thing. Okay. Okay, now moving on further, we'll go for the short answer questions. Short answer questions. A ball of snow when rolled over snow increases in mass, volume and size. Is it comparable to living organisms? Growth seen as in living organisms. Why? Okay. You cannot compare both these things. Why you cannot compare both these things? Because what is happening in a ball of snow is just on the surface level, mass is getting aggregated. Okay. It is like sort of extrinsic. It is happening outside. Whereas in case of growth in terms of like living organism happens internally or it is intrinsic. Okay. So you need to write that in a statement. So how would you write it? You can go for the thing. So you have the first question in section B. The growth in living organisms happen internally. It is intrinsic. The second point, the growth in the snowball happens only because of surface accumulation of particles. So they cannot be compared. Okay, you have to write it is extrinsic. So it cannot be compared. So this is the answer for the first question here. So this is how you will be like writing. While writing, please write it in points. And whenever possible, you underline the keywords. You know that intrinsic and extrinsic are keywords. So you should underline it. Here you are talking about growth in living organisms, underline it. Then the growth in snowball, you underline it. When I'm checking the paper, I'll just look for these underlined things and then I'll put a mark and then I'll go. Yeah, you can use the word accretion also. You have the textbook words also. You can use the word textbook words which are there. Mountains, boulders do grow. However, this kind of growth exhibited by thing, you see this point, you will be able to get it. Mountains, boulders, and sand mounds do grow. However, this kind of growth exhibited by the non-living objects is by accumulation of material on the surface. You cannot use the word anatomically. Anatomically is there for okay. So now like let us move on to the second question. Okay. The question here is, in a given habitat, we have 20 plant species and 20 animal species. Should we call this as diversity or biodiversity? Justify your answer. The answer here is biodiversity. The term means, what is biodiversity? Instead of writing term means, you can write the term refers to the degree of variation of life forms seen in a particular area. In this case, the 20 plants and 20 animals give the variety of organisms in the area. Okay. So this is what is the answer. Okay. What if there is 5 plants and 5 animals? The answer would still be the same because it is talking about the variety in a particular region. Okay. The question is between diversity and biodiversity. Diversity is like kind of, it can be variation in anything. The variety in terms of anything is called as diversity. When I'm specifically mentioning biodiversity, I'm talking about plants and animals. Okay. So variety, if only 2 plants and 2 animals are there in a particular area also, you can consider it as diversity only. That is the diversity, I mean like diversity in the sense biodiversity only. Diversity can be anything. Say for example, you are talking about language diversity, you talk about race diversity, you talk about like employment diversity. Okay. Diversification of funds. You can talk about anything in terms of diversity. But when I'm using the word specifically biodiversity, it refers to the extent of variation that you see in a particular region. Okay. Biodiversity means different thing and then catalog means different thing. I don't understand where you come up with such questions. Biodiversity and catalog, you're asking me a difference. Read the textbook, please. Okay, moving on to the third question. International Code for Botanical Nomenclature has provided a code for classification of plants. Give hierarchy units of classification botanists follow while classifying the plants and suffixes used for the units. Okay, what is ICBN? It has provided some hierarchy. What is the hierarchy that it has given? The things that we know. The third question. The first one is what? The first one is kingdom. Then the second one is division. And the third one is class. The fourth one is what? Order. Fifth one is family. Sixth one is genus. And then the sixth one is, seventh one is species. Usually genus and species do not have any standard, no standard suffixes are used. For phylum is only for animals. Here the question is specifically asking about plants. Plantsல வந்து division மட்டும்தான் இருக்கும். You don't have phylum. Okay. The next one is like no standard No standard suffixes are used. For family, we use the word ACA. Okay. The word for order, it is ales. For the class, it is opsida. And for the division, we use the word phyta. So this is the sub thing that is there. So thallophyta is a division. This is not there in the NCERT textbook. You need to know they are asking only for the plant kingdom. So whenever if you're talking about a suffix, what is the suffix that you need to do is like opsida. Opsida is like something you have your, you take any example. You let us take about let us take about Paisam Sataivam. Okay, you take Paisam Sataivam and see all the things. So if you see Wikipedia, you will get a whole lot of things which are there. So you see here in kingdom you have asked, this is belonging to tracheophytes. What is the kingdom is tracheophytes. Under tracheophytes, it is coming. I mean under plantae, it is coming under tracheophytes. Okay. So similarly here you have this ales. This ales is the fabales is the order. The Fabaceae is the family. Clade is a subdivision which is like not defined. Let us talk about if instead of pea plant, you can talk about let us say brinjal. So this is also belonging to tracheophyte. Solanaceae, Solanaceae. Okay. So for family, it is ACA only. Fabaceae, Solanaceae, like that they will use. Like this, you have suffixes for animals also. Here in this question, they have asked about what is the hierarchy unit of classification. So they have asked about the suffixes which are used. So please follow that thing. Okay. Okay. Is my video proper? Is it lagging or something? Okay, many of them are saying it's not lagging, so I think it's the network connection. Okay, so now let us move on to the next question. A plant species shows several morphological variations in response to altitudinal gradient. When grown under similar conditions of growth, the morphological variations disappear, and all the variants have common morphology. What are these variants called as? Okay. Is there anyone who can give me the answer for this question? The variants are called as biotypes. Okay. Listen, children, if you are going to study only what is given in NCRT, and then like if you don't want to read anything extra, you're like welcome to do those things. The purpose which we are have to understand here is like in CBSE exam, even in CBSE exam, or like be it NEET, they can ask you questions from any area. Okay. It is not necessarily, it has to be like there only from the NCRT textbook. There is no such rule. Okay. There can be questions which can be general, which you should be expected to know. Okay. So which means like if you're like kind of having a headstrong view of like saying that I will read only what is there in the syllabus, then that is not going to work. Okay. So please understand this thing and then like behave accordingly. And then like the purpose why I have to do all these extra questions is that sometimes like you might be asked such questions. These are all questions which have come in the past in the board exams also, or in the kind of like NEET exams also. Okay. So which means you are expected to read something beyond. So we are trying to take some questions which are there, which have not been like there in the regular mainstream questions, and I have also asked those questions as part of this thing. Okay. So which means like you have to read this thing. So stop asking questions like these, like whether it is there in the NCRT, whether it is not there in the NCRT. That is not my duty. I am teaching in the class. You please take NCRT book, sit, read it, and find whether it is there in the NCRT or not. Okay. So what else are you doing at home? You have to sit through the book and then you have to read through the book. It is the duty of you as a student to find out whether it is there in the NCRT or not. My duty is to teach and equip you for NEET. And it is there in the NCRT syllabus also, most of it. So which means you should be able to see and make out differences. Harish, I know when to continue, Harish. The question here is like trying to ask, a plant species shows several morphological variations in response to altitudinal gradient. What is the meaning of it? The question is trying to ask you that set is trying to tell one particular plant variety is showing several morphological variations, which means it is showing different kinds of morphology in response to what? Altitudinal gradient. What is the meaning of altitudinal gradient? Based on the height. Let us say that you take a plant, a particular plant A. The particular plant A in Trichy or Madurai or Tanjavur in a plain region, it is trying to show a particular morphology. When you're taking the same plant and you're planting it in Ooty or Kodaikanal, the plant shows some variation. It is the same plant only, but when it is growing under this particular condition, it is showing one kind of morphology. When it is growing in a different environment based on the height, it is showing different kind of morphology. Here, the question that they are asking is, when grown under similar conditions of growth, the morphological variations disappear and the variants have the common morphology. What are these variants called as is the question. Okay. What are these variants called as? We call them as biotypes. The variants are called as biotypes. What are biotypes is the question. So now let us write the definition for biotypes. So biotypes indicate a group of organisms that have same genetic constitution but exhibit different morphology under different environmental conditions. Yeah, you can write it. Okay, they are naturally available. So you have to write one more thing. The various biotypes arise because of plasticity. Okay, what is plasticity? You should know. The ability of an organism to changes in environment to adapt to changes in environment or differences between various habitats. So what is plasticity? So let us say that I am talking about coriander. Okay. Coriander under one condition, it will be behaving, having leaves in one way. Okay. Coriander in a different condition will have leaves in a different way. Under winter conditions, it will try to be in one way. Summer conditions, it will try to be in one way. It is able to adapt according to the environmental change. Okay. So that ability is what we call it as plasticity. Here, why is that organism is showing different types of biotypes? The different types of biotypes are caused because of the plasticity. The same plant, if it is having a particular ability to adapt, then it will show what? It will show biotypes. If it is not having that particular thing, we call it as that plant is not having plasticity, then in that case, it will become what? It will become a different I mean, like, if it is not having plasticity, it will be the same. If it is having plasticity, it can differ. Is it possible in animals also? Animals have different mechanisms of adaptation. We have different kinds of organisms, animals, which will have different mechanism of adaptation, but we don't use the word plasticity for that. Plasticity is generally we talk about plants only. You can use, but it is like kind of like normally it is studied only in botany. Animals will also show plasticity in terms of like different things. Different categories have, you have conformers, you have adapters, you have migrators, like that you have different classes. You'll study in ecology next year. Yeah, like some organisms will have fur, some organisms will go for migration. No, if we are talking about biotype, it has to be the same plant with a different variation. That is what is biotype. You cannot compare different organisms. In case of coriander example that I gave, coriander will show something called as heterophily. Heterophily means like different kinds of leaves. So it will show different kind of leaves in different kind of environment. It is growing in a winter area, it will show a different kind of leaf. It is growing in a summer area, it will show a different kind of leaf. Okay, so this coriander is the same plant, but it is exhibiting two different types. These two types can be considered as the winter leaf and the summer leaf can be considered as what? It can be considered as biotype. But you cannot compare coriander with something else. It has to be what is biotype. I have given the example here. I mean, like the definition here. The variants are called as biotypes. It indicates a group of organisms that have what? Same genetic constitution. If it has to have same genetic constitution means what? It has to be there in the same species. Are we able to understand? Okay, now moving on to the next question. How do you prepare herbarium sheets? What are the different tools that you will carry while you are collecting plants for a herbarium? Okay, you will take what you know. How do you prepare herbarium sheets? I have given the answer for that in the class itself. So here you need to know how it is like kind of done. Okay, so here there are some things that you should know. You should have scissors, cutters, inch tapes, and then like you need vasculum. Vasculum is something which you will carry plant specimens. Okay, you can use some kind of like instruments to dig soils, tools to dig soil, gloves, and all can be there. Okay, so these are all things that you can carry with you. What information should be preserved? That part you should know. I think I have given name of the collector, name of the plant, common names, where location it is found, the date, and all those things. Okay, so that fifth question, you should be able to do it. Okay, so now let us move on to the sixth question. The sixth question they are asking, what is the difference between flora, fauna, and vegetation? Okay, they are asking, so you just write it like a 2-mark question or 3-mark question, concise it and write it. So this question is like a 2-mark question or a 3-mark question max. So you just have to like write one point for one of these things. Herbarium is made out of is made by drying plant specimens on a paper and sticking it with the sheet. First point, 1 point over. What are the different tools? 1 point over. What information should be preserved? So you write the informations to be preserved in a particular material in the particular sheet are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that you write it. Okay. You don't have to write it all. So the next question is they are asking what is the difference between flora, fauna, and vegetation? What is flora? All plants occurring naturally in an area. What is fauna? All animals occurring naturally in an area. Vegetation. All plants that are grown by humans in an area. Okay. So this is the difference between flora and fauna and vegetation. Vegetation means like it is grown by specifically by humans in a particular area. Okay. So they are also asking Econia craspis is called as an exotic species, while Raulophina is like a endemic species to India. What is exotic? The word exotic means foreign. And the word endemic means native variety. So there are some species which were brought by foreigners to India. Okay. So those species are called as exotic species. Exotic species usually have some problems. What is the problem? Even though the objective which was brought was like kind of a good thing, the exotic species will not have competitors easily here in the soil. So what will happen is they will tend to grow very fast compared to the other things. Because it is a new environment, they will not have potential competitors. They will not have a pest. Okay, since they are new, the pest here in the country will not be like able to attack it. Okay, so like that, there are some advantages. They will be like kind of taking maximum nutrition. So exotic plant species are dangerous to the native species. The ones which are in the native species are called as endemic species. Okay, fine. Then now I'll show you all the slides. Slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, slide 4, slide 5, slide 6. Okay, thank you, children.